All right, everybody. Welcome to U.S. Term Limits live Facebook stream, I guess we'll call it.
This is our Facebook live broadcast that we do every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Welcome aboard, Patriots.
Hey, Quinn. Hey, Quinn, show them the band that just finished playing. You know, since we're all quarantined, show them the band in the back. Never mind.
Why did you have to throw me off like that?
Anyway. We've been quarantined a little bit too long. I'm getting a little punchy, I think.
All right. Well, gentlemen, how's your day going?
You know, it's going pretty well, actually. Pretty well indeed. I'm excited to be here. You know, we've got a lot going on. Believe it or not, there is an awful lot that is happening with U.S. term limits during this time of upheaval. And that's just the word I'm going to use. And, you know, this quarantine, the lockdown, whatever you want to call it. But we have been very, very busy. And what we're doing is we're contacting legislators, we're contacting candidates, because while the legislative sessions in most states have been postponed and elections in a lot of states have been postponed, that doesn't mean they're not going to happen. They're still going to happen. Eventually, this is going to go away and things are going to go back to the way they used to be. Legislative sessions are going to start back up. People are going to get back to their normal routines. And at least that's what we're hoping for. So elections are still going to happen. 2020 is still an election year. That means this is a very big deal. And we have got to get to as many candidates as is humanly possible. And now, just like you, most of these people are at home. Most of them, not all, but most of these people are at home. So that means the field is ripe to be plowed. And so we really have to make hay. And now is the time to be doing it.
Yeah, and so let's just do a quick introduction. My name is Ken Quinn. I'm one of the regional directors with U.S. Term Limits, and we're going to be talking a lot about how you can help us today. And right now, as Ken was talking, with elections coming up, we have a strong push on getting state legislators and candidates to sign our term limits pledge. And so I'm glad you joined us. We have a call to action. We got some exciting stuff going on. We're actually going to be I'm going to get to this later, but we're going to have a chance to win a nice U.S. term limits hat, if you can see that. Play some golf. And once you got Ron, why don't you introduce yourself? I'm in the North region. So if you look at the United States, the Northeast region, 17 states up there. And these gentlemen, Ken's in the South region and Ron's in the West. But
Yep, Ron Hooper in the Western region and all the Western states, including Alaska and Hawaii. And so, you know, in fact, I really appreciate some of the notes that we're getting. I'm amazed how far reaching this live stream is. So anyway, it's always good to hear from people. We had some reach out to us from Alaska. So glad to hear it.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing that up. What we want you to do is this is going to be sort of interactive. Obviously, we can't take calls, but if you could post something about term limits and why you support it, please do so in the comments. Keep it kind of short because if it's too long, I can't pull it up on the screen. And also, let us know what state you are in. Let's do a roll call of states around the country. And so I'm going to be kind of working this behind the scenes. So if I look a little bit distracted, it's because I'm looking for stuff to pull up and show. And so before we get started, because this comes up every time we do this, and it's a little bit of a voter education here. We hear all the time, the people should vote for this. Put it on the ballot.
Put it on the ballot.
Let's do that.
Put it on the ballot. I'll vote for that.
Didn't we already vote for this?
Okay, listen, we've done that. We got the T-shirts, and it got overruled. Back in the 1990s, 23 states passed laws to put term limits on Congress. I think 21 of them voted for it on the ballots. Okay, right. So the people around the country have done that already. But what happened was in 1995, the Supreme Court, in the case against us, it was U.S. term limits versus Thornton. The court overturned all of those laws, overturned the votes of the people.
The United States Supreme Court did.
Yeah. Isn't that what I said?
You said the courts.
Oh, I'm sorry, the courts.
The
U.S. Supreme Court, SCOTUS. overturned all of those laws and said in their ruling the only way states can put term limits on Congress, it must come through Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution, which is an amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And there's only two ways to propose amendments. You need 2/3 of both houses of Congress to do it, which chances of that happening are virtually nil. Or what we're going to be talking about today and what we've been working on for a very long time now is 2/3 of the state legislatures need to apply for what's called an Article 5 convention for a term limits amendment. And that's what we're working on, and that's what we need your help with.
And let me give you an idea real quick as to what would happen if there was an initiative to put this on the ballot. What would happen is you would file and you would petition, you would file with your state to get this put on the ballot. It would immediately, one of two things would happen. It would immediately be challenged in court, or the Secretary of State would immediately throw it out. It cannot happen. It simply cannot. It would be great if it could. But as Quinn just mentioned, the United States Supreme Court has already ruled on this issue. We, the people, will never get to vote for it. The only way to do it is Article 5 of the Constitution. We have got to propose an amendment to the Constitution, period. End of story. There is no way around that under any circumstances. So knowing that, that's what we're here to do. And that's what we're here to talk about, Quinn.
Yeah. And so I see a lot of comments also. It's like, you guys are all, well, not us, but we've been hearing about this for years. Do something about it. Well, that's why we're doing this. And we need you to take action. It's up to you out there watching me. Hello, you. What have you done to help us? Now, this is what we need you to do. We're going to go through what's called a call to action. We need this done in your state. And so if you haven't stepped up to help us, if you want to help us, please get involved. And we're going to walk you through how to do that today. And we're going to need your help long after that. So we want to thank you for joining us. And with that,
real quick, I want to give you an idea of what states we are active in right now. I mean, we have to get to where we have 34 different states pass our resolution. In my region right now, I have active resolutions in Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina. We'll be back in West Virginia. Tennessee's going to be active. That's just my region. Those are the states that we're pushing right now today. I mean, there's a lot going on. Quinn, you've got active legislation.
Yeah, we're talking Vermont, New Hampshire, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Currently in my region. Ron, what about your states?
Yeah, we're active in Arizona and Utah, very active in both those states right now. Just a shout out to Utah, just finished one of the very first successful virtual state conventions. They did it successfully. And so good job to them. And same thing in Arizona. So those are our two active states. We've got grassroots growth in California and Washington, and expect those to start happening soon. What's happening is with all of this political environment, people are getting more excited about this. And so they want to get involved, and we've shown them a way to do that today. Quinn, on that, reach out to the legislator.
Yeah, we'll be getting that to that in just a minute. What I want to do is I want to throw out a little Article 5 trivia question. And so let me share with you something I found recently. I found it pretty fascinating. Let me pull it up here. Here's a question. I want you guys out there in Facebook land, take a guess when the very first, what year it was first recommended for the states to call an Article 5 convention for term limits. Don't you guys say anything because you know the answer. But I want you to type it in the comments section what you think the very first year somebody recommended an Article 5 convention, which is what we're working on for term limits. Now, it wasn't specifically only for Congress. It included Congress, but it also included the president and the vice president. Now, a lot of people say, well, the 1990s was a big, strong push for term limits. Remember, that was when all these laws got passed, and maybe it was back then there was an effort. Well, it's well before the 1990s. Let me see if you guys can see the comments, let me know if anyone's guessed the year. And what I'm going to do, let me just read to you the quote. Okay, so here's the quote, and I'll let you know who it is afterwards. Quote, "You have been told also that after the new Constitution takes place, the officers under it may become perpetual. Now it is fully and absolutely secured that no representative, senator, president, or vice president can continue beyond a stipulated time. And if the people think that time too long, they can get their state legislatures to apply for its being shortened. If 9 legislatures out of 13 apply this year, or 10 years hence, there must be a convention called to consider the point. And then if 3/4 of the states approve the alteration, it will be made," unquote. Now, based on what I read, it's pretty clear that the Constitution wasn't even in effect yet. This quote was actually, it had just gotten ratified. This was 1 month after the Constitution was ratified. This quote is by a gentleman by the name of Tench Cox, and he said this during the Pennsylvania Ratification Convention. Isn't that incredible?
That is incredible. But it just goes to show they knew the problem even back then. And
yes,
I think they assumed people would be citizen legislators, but that was a wrong assumption.
1788. Now, the first member of Congress to introduce an amendment for congressional term limits was the following year in 1789. So right out of the gates, they understood the need for this. And so it's time we get it done. It's been over 200 years. It's time we get it done. So,
well, and that brings us to a point. Nobody honestly believes that Congress is ever going to do anything that's going to limit their own terms, limit their own power, limit their own ability to spend. Nobody believes that. So by going through the states, we do it to them, for us, to them. And we can circumvent their authority altogether because Congress can't stop it. Congress can't do anything about it. We can actually do it to them. We can impose term limits on them, whether they like it or not.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of this whole thing. We are doing this without their consent, without their approval, and they can't stop it. And that's why I love what we're working on. We don't need to go to them and beg and grovel. Oh, please do what's right. We are going to tell them what we're going to do. So it's awesome. Anyway, okay, Margie, the sooner the better. Yes, I totally agree with you there. All right, with that, I want to introduce my good friend in Pennsylvania, who's our volunteer state director. Let me bring you in, Chris. This is Mr. Chris Lehman. I call him the bulldog in Pennsylvania. Let me see if we can. There he is. Okay, great. We can get all of us on. I've been working with Chris now for quite a while. And Chris, I met you last year, came out to Pennsylvania. I did a presentation and you came to it. And dude, you were so fired up. And I left that meeting thinking, man, I hope he stays engaged. And why don't you give a little update on what you've been doing since that meeting?
Well, I'm coyote ugly. I guess that's the only way to say it. I've been trying to make things change for 50 years. Haven't had any success. And when I went to the seminar up in Harrisburg and found that there was a group out there that was working to actually shoot a bullet into their forehead, I said, this is for me. And I basically jumped on board like a maniac. And I'm a bull in a china shop, but that doesn't matter. One of the big things that I did right off the bat is go around the neighborhood, work on the neighborhood, 55 plus community, got everybody to sign. And then on election day, November 5th, I set up a table over at the voting district, and out of the 220 people that voted, 185 of them signed the petition. Everybody that I see, no matter where I am, like I wear my t-shirt and I have bumper stickers, anytime anybody sees anything that has to do with term limits, hey, how do I get involved? I've only had one person turn me down since, what was it, August, I guess, Ken, when we did that thing?
I think so.
July or August. And we've been working real hard here. We've been going up to Harrisburg, talking to representatives, talking to senators. And what we're going to do in the state right now is we're going to concentrate on the 25 senators that are up for re-election, because their candidates that are running against them have signed our petition already. So we're singling those guys out, and we're going to pick them off one by one by having people from their district call them with us on the line. The director or the county captain is going to help that person call their office, say, listen, I'm so-and-so, I live over here, and I'm for term limits. Can you please let me know what the senator has to say about that?
Yeah,
We
let me
just
jump
did
in,
one of
Chris.
these, right?
Yeah, so basically we're doing a specific call to action in Pennsylvania. There's 3 steps to it. The first step is to ask people to draft their own message and send it to their senator and their rep. And then the next one is to have them go to their Facebook page and ask them to sign the pledge right there on a comment on one of their posts, because people see that, their constituents will see that. And I kind of like that one a lot, because it kind of puts a little added pressure on them to sign the pledge. And then the third one, like Chris was mentioning, is our county captains and volunteers are actually calling other supporters in the state and calling the office of the legislator and basically merging it together and introducing the constituent on the phone and say, listen, I have one of Senator Smith's constituents on the phone. They would like to leave the senator a message in regards to our resolution and support for term limits. And so they leave their name, why they support this, and they want to call back with their phone number. And so if we can do this effectively in a bunch of these districts, these phone calls are going to really, I think, get a response back, because we've gotten a bunch. We have a term limits pledge team that's doing a phenomenal job in many of our states, and they're doing a great job in Pennsylvania. I think we've got over 40 challengers, candidates who've signed the pledge, but we're not getting many incumbents. The incumbents kind of just brush us off. And so it's time that we turn the heat on them. And right now is the best time to do that, especially before a primary. And now is the time to strike. And so if you're in Pennsylvania, I need you to step up, help me and Chris and the others in that state to target these districts, and then we're going to move on to the other districts. The primary election in Pennsylvania is on June 2nd, so we have just over a month, and we can get this done. So if you're in Pennsylvania, if you've signed our petition, or if you take action today, which we're going to show you in a minute, you'll be getting more information in regards to this, and you may be getting a county captain or Chris or myself contacting you through email or phone to take the next step. So Chris, I got to tell you, this plan, you're doing a great job in Pennsylvania. You're giving it everything you've got. And first of all, I want to thank you for the dedication to our efforts. And I want to thank you for your passion. I know I call you a bulldog, but that's what we need. We need people that don't let go. And I think we're going to see some great fruit from all this effort. So don't lose heart. I know it gets discouraging at times where folks say they're going to do something and they don't, but we're going to do this and we're going to get it done. And with your leadership there in the States, it's going to happen. While you're still with us, Chris, let me hey, Ron, I'm going to drop you out of the screen here so I can pull up the website. And Ken, do you want to kind of go over the website while I'm pulling this up so people can see how they can get involved?
Yeah, you bet. You bet. And so what Ken's going to be pulling up is are you going to pull up the call to action first or the pledge?
I'm going to pull up. Can you see my screen? Can you see the
not
screen?
yet.
All right, 1 second. Let me, I'm going to take us all out of here. Give me 1 second.
There we go.
Yeah, I want to make that. There we go.
There we go. So that is our homepage. That is the U.S. Term Limits homepage. And so we drive as many people to this homepage as we possibly can. And what he's doing is he's going to the Term Limits drop down, and there is a section under there, Term Limits Legislator Pledge. So click on that, and that'll bring up the page that has all of our pledges. Now, we've got pledges for United States Congress and state legislators. What we are focusing on right now are the state legislators. So, Quinn, if you could scroll down just a little bit and show them where they can click for that. We're focusing on.
Okay, first of all, I want to show the pledge, because that's what can you see the pledge now?
Well, I see.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're telescoping, and I've got some back. I've got some audio back.
All right, 1 second.
Okay.
Bear with us, guys.
So anyway, but what he's trying to show you is the actual pledge itself, and it's very simple. It simply says you will co-sponsor or sponsor and vote for and support our resolution when it comes to your state. That's it. I mean, it's not designed to be tricky. It's not a gotcha. It's not anything like that. It's very straightforward. And so you pull up that and you click the button where it says U.S. Legislature Candidate Pledge. Okay. And
yeah, I'm not going to pull it up, but just explain it. Yeah,
that's fine. But it's very simple. You can go in there and you can look at it, and it's very straightforward. There's no Mickey Mouse about it. And basically, it says you will support term limits on Congress. We have a resolution. Sign it. Put your money where your mouth is. Sign it. What we have found over the years is that people say, "Oh yeah, I support it. I support it. I support it," and then when it comes time to vote, they've got a billion reasons why they won't vote for it. We have been burned more times than I can count. And it constantly happens. And in fact, we have some folks that will sign our pledge and then still not honor it. But that is very few and far between. I'm guessing maybe 3 or 4% of our pledge signers actually back out. So it's a very powerful tool.
Let me show folks right now, this is what we're doing today. And you have a chance to win a nice U.S. term limits hat. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So what we're asking everybody to do is take action today. So everyone that does take the next action that I'm about to show you, can you see my tab, my cursor?
Yeah, it's under current action. And then it says contact your state legislator. That's
so by clicking on that,
you click on that.
There you go. Give me 1 second. Okay.
There you go.
All right. That's how simple it is. And basically all you have to do is add your name, your email address, and your physical address, because that's how we identify your legislators, and send this message. Now you can add your own language to this and word, we would prefer you make this more personal and, state your own reasons why you want term limits for Congress, but please leave the bottom section here because that's a link to the pledge. And everybody that does that today, we'll be doing a query at the end of midnight tonight. Everyone that does that will go into a drawing, and for a chance, now let me bring back the screen here.
And just so you know, I have posted a link to that page in the comment section on Facebook. I've done it twice, so you should be able to see it.
So if you do that today, you're going to go into a drawing, and everyone that does that, we're going to pick a winner to win this nice, lovely golf U.S. term limits hat. I'm not a hat guy, but I know a lot of people do like hats, and we'll get that out to you. And so that's just one of our current calls to action. If you keep looking over on that site, you'll see others as well. So always come to our website. We post new actions by states. And if you're not getting our emails, let me just quickly show folks how. Well, you know what? If you take that action today, you'll go into our database to receive our emails. So that's the best way of doing this. Hey, Chris, I want to say thank you, buddy. Is there anything in closing you'd like to share with folks in Pennsylvania?
In closing, we'll just have to keep the pressure on because these guys are pretty slippery. And I don't give them any slack when I go to the Capitol. I just go right into the office. If they don't give me an appointment, I just go in anyway and introduce myself and give them the information and ask them to sign the pledge. I'm not there to be their friend. They work for me and they work for all of us. We are paying their salaries. So it's up to us to force these guys, convince them somehow to become part of the plan. And I'm having a good time doing it. I like
All right,
making them
great.
feel uncomfortable.
All right, listen, I'll be in touch because we got 3 people already today that have responded to my email that want to help. So we got some work ahead of us. Chris, I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Sounds
Have a
good,
good day.
guys. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
guys.
Chris. Keep up the good work, my friend.
See you
Bye-bye.
guys later.
He's got a lot on his plate in Pennsylvania, doesn't he?
Do you see why I call him Bulldog?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's good. I can still see your screen. You still got the call to action up. There's
Yeah, I'm
Ron.
trying to bring Ron in. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to take a modern voter revolt to really move this along. And, people are pretty upset with what's happening really all over, both state, local. And so the point is they're just not frightened of the voter anymore. They're just not concerned. They're more concerned about where the party supports them and that kind of stuff than they are about their voter. And it's going to really take a voter revolt. And this is the broadest appealed one that I know of. I hope people will get involved in reaching out to their legislator. It's for real. One of the outreaches from a local constituent is worth 100 times any other types of reach. So they really listen to their local constituents, and that's what it takes.
Well, you know what? We didn't cover on the call with Chris, but last night, this is what we're doing. So we have our county captains are calling our supporters in the state, and they are dialing the phone number to the senator's office, and they are introducing the constituent to the staff person or leaving the message, letting the constituent leave the message. And I did that with Chris last night because we were training these volunteers, and he left the message with Senator Scott Martin. And today he got a call back from his office. He didn't speak to the senator, but the senator got the message and will be following up with Chris. I think he knows Chris pretty well. And so, but that's what it's going to take. If they get just 5 of these messages and that gets their attention, the emails are great. We want you to still send emails, but the most effective means of getting their attention is, number 1, visiting them in their office or in their district and having a one-on-one, and secondly, making a phone call. There is nothing better than having a conversation, and just this information based on those conversations is critical because we learn a lot, whether they support term limits, whether they oppose it, whether they're against Article 5, but they support term limits. And so the conversations, we need that information. And so it's really critical that everybody gets involved. Don't just type on here and say, oh, get this done. Step up and you take action. Volunteer. This is we the people, guys. It can't be done top down. It has to be bottom up.
Yeah, my favorite of those comments we received that reference something to the effect of all talk. Well, we're not talking about it. We're doing it. What are you going to do? Are you going to join us in the fight? Are you going to get out there and do something about it as well? Because we need everybody involved, and we can show you what to do. Right now, we're asking you to contact candidates and contact incumbent legislators. Okay, that's what we need to have happen. And if
you know what I do?
That we'll get closer and closer and closer to making this happen, and we can, in fact, get it done. Amending the Constitution is a very steep hill to climb, but it can be done, and we can do it. We need
Typically, I find, Ken, that the people that make those kind of comments, I look them up in our database, and they never take action.
Yeah.
They are all talk and no action. So,
well, somebody said, hey, we need to penalize all of those in corruption. And the real truth of the matter is, after about 15 years, they're all corrupt. Yeah. And they know as long as they can be there, they are basically touchless. You can't do a thing about it. And they feel that way. I'm amazed what they do sometimes publicly. And so this is the only way of getting it lined up.
There's an old saying, the only way to remove a member of Congress is death or indictment, but not even indictment works. How many sitting members of Congress do we have under indictment right now? 3? I think it's 3, right? And we've had indicted
dementia.
Yeah, I think we've had indicted members of Congress actually win re-election while they're under indictment.
Hey, you know what? I want to pull up the store because we don't share much about our store. Give me 1 second, because can you guys? Okay, let me just show folks where they can get some of that swag. You saw the shirt that Chris had on himself there. If you go to, I think it's under more. Can you guys see that now? The store.
Yeah, it's pulling up.
Okay. So here is where you can get some nice U.S. term limit swag. We got apparel, yard signs, bumper stickers. So check it out on our website. Buy some
It's
stuff.
still not up though, Ken.
It's not? Hold on.
No.
Oh, you know what? Here, I'll try this. It's hard being the producer. See that every time I do that, it just freaks out on us.
Yeah,
Anyway.
now I'll get the feedback again, I bet.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
All right.
Oh, well, we do have a swag store on our website, and you can find it under the tab More. And so please go there and check us out, because we've got a lot of neat things. You can buy stuff. And if you get really active and need propaganda, brochures, yard signs, whatever, we'll send you that stuff for free. And so you don't have to worry about spending money. We will provide that stuff for you if you get active and get to where you need it.
So in closing, okay, put your name in the drawing for this lovely golf hat. I wish I wore hats, because this is a nice looking hat. The only way you can possibly win this is by taking action today. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to do a little look up to see who took action on that call to action, that thread that I just showed you guys. I also put it in the comments section, and we'll do a drawing, and next week we'll announce who the winner is, and we'll ship that out. So we really appreciate your help. I don't have anything else to add today. Gentlemen, do you have anything you want to add to this live show?
God bless America.
God bless you. I'm good. I've said my piece.
All right, everyone stay safe, and we will be back in front of you next week. Please take action, get involved, and let's get this done for America. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.